and 1. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's me, Councillor Chris Thiessen, your chair for the Operational Services Committee meeting here again on November 7th, 2023. Joining me on this committee are Councillors Gladys Blackmore, Grant Berg, and Mayor Jackie Clayton. So this meeting is now called to order. The first item of business is a little bit of in-camera work. I see Councillor Blackmore.
I move we go in camera.
All right, that motion is in order. We'll call the question.
In favor.
Councillor Berg in favor.
That motion carries, and we will move into camera. and thank you for your patience, viewing audience at home. We are back to today's Operational Services Committee meeting. We'll move right along in the agenda. We have no delegations, but we do have reports. Service area update. I will turn it over to Chief Glavin.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. We'll start off with engineering services. Almost all of our projects are completely wrapped up for this year with some minor deficiency work that will be done in the spring. And as far as the spillway goes, that project is also complete, and we have put that into its winter operation mode, which is opening the gates to ensure that we don't cause any damage to the spillway or the gates. In facilities, the Eastlink shutdown is completed. The 25-meter pool was open sooner than we expected it, and the sound attenuation project, which is part of that, is almost complete as well, but will not have any disruption to users while it's being completed. We've also received a lot of positive feedback on the sound attenuation project and how much easier it is to hear what's going on in the facility. The Brant Skyloft project is also substantially completed and is taking and has guests in it as well. And in energy, we're working to finalize the terms and conditions for the commercial SEEP project, which is the Clean Energy Improvement Program. In transit, we saw a 11.9% increase in ridership in October over September. A lot of that is attributed to the youth category, which is up 52% over the same period, likely due to the youth fares being free. So that's showing that it's been an effective measure to get youth using the bus. In environment and parks, we have 25 neighborhood rinks that have been delivered so far this year. We usually expect between 30 to 40, and there's still time to apply if you go on to cityofgp.com/outdoor rinks. In transportation, we are now in our 24-hour shift schedule for winter operations and are more than prepared for the next snowfall when it occurs, although we are having definitely above average temperatures for this time of the year. As well, we've installed some new radar signs in a few different locations that have showed speed above the 85th percentile, which essentially there's, once you get speed above the 85th percentile or speeders, that we have a significant amount of people that are speeding. So we're trying to mitigate some of that with some signage in those areas, being that on 63rd Avenue by Aspen Grove School, 108th Street north of 68th Avenue, and 100th Avenue between 120th and 124th Streets. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you for the good news update there, Chief Glavin. I will look around. I got Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you, Chief Glavin. I just have a question about the intersection at 92nd Street and 68th Avenue, where the new construction is. There's a sign telling you to look out for a yield sign, but at the intersection itself is a temporary stop sign. So there's a conflict of information there. I suspect the stop sign needs to be picked up.
Chief Glavin.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. I'll have transportation look into that one.
Awesome. I have Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks for Chief Glavin. Just a couple of end-of-season questions, and I think I know the answer, but I hate to assume. The 68th Avenue slide area and the dam, are both of those 100% totally wrapped up, or are we still doing some work?
Chief Glavin.
So on the 68th Avenue, where the slide was, that project is completed, all but some minor landscaping that will be done in the spring. And the spillway, I believe, is completed.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Chief Glavin. I got Councillor Bosch.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. I'm not sure this goes to you, Mr. Glavin, but the train tracks on 68th. 68th is getting hit hard this morning. Is there anything happening with the timing as far as when the trains are going through preschool? I'm getting calls from parents that are struggling to get their kids to school on time because the train timing is poorly timed in their opinion.
Chief Glavin, I might also have an answer.
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. You might have a better answer than I do. I'm not aware of any work that's ongoing with CN right now, although we have some influence with CN. We have no control over when they have trains that are crossing that intersection.
How do we go about talking to them in these customer concerns or community concerns?
Yeah, there is a number that the public can call, but we also do have direct contacts with CN administratively that we can relay the concerns to.
Okay, thank you.
We've also, as a council, in the past few times that we've had CN come in, we've asked them about being more mindful about their times. As somebody who lives close to the 68th Avenue railroad tracks, I see CN has not only a lot more cars coming through the town, which is part of our advocacy strategy. I think the volume is almost at 2, maybe 3 times what they were doing last year. But I also see a lot of staging that happens. So the full train unit will stop on the tracks between the times of like 8 and 9 and wait until that school traffic's gone, and then they start rolling the carts out. So I do think like we should definitely reach out to CN and have that conversation. But just by my observation out my backyard, it looks like they're trying. Any further questions? I have Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. Possibly, Mr. Glavin, you could share the public phone number with Council through an email, so Council has it at their access to share with the public. Thanks.
Thanks for that, Mayor Clayton. I'll look around the room and online to see if there's any further questions. You had a lot this morning, Chief Glavin. Looks like you're getting off the hook. We'll move on. Thank you very much, Council, for your questions, and to Chief Glavin for answering as best as you could on all of them. Move on to item 4.2, covered outdoor structures. I'll turn it over to Chief Glavin again to introduce this, and we have a guest at our table.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. So administration's looked at numerous locations for the placement of a covered outdoor structure. Based on the infrastructure and budget available, administration is recommending that we consult with the Smith neighborhood for the placement of a covered outdoor structure at the Activity and Reception Center site, and that subsequent to that we bring back a cost estimate after consultation is completed. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. DeVries.
Welcome, Mr. DeVries.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. Earlier this year, administration worked with an engineering firm for an initial design and construction estimate for a covered outdoor structure, and that was to replace the existing outdoor rink at Swanhaven. Council approved the additional funding required to execute that project within Swanhaven as it was conceptualized at that time. Following this, a delegation from the Swanhaven neighborhood came forward with some general concerns regarding that overall design, as well as some of the security and safety issues at that proposed site in Swanhaven. As mentioned, administration then looked at several different location options as well as some different design options, and upon evaluation of those various location and design options, administration concludes that the Activity and Reception Center location is most suitable for the existing pole shed design, which is the most economical covered outdoor structure solution at this time. Should committee recommend proceeding with the Activity and Reception Center location, it is likely that additional budget may be required to execute that project and the pole shed design in that location. There are a few alternative recommendations in the report. As was mentioned, the recommendations for today are that the Operational Services Committee direct administration to commence consultation with the Smith neighborhood for placement of a covered outdoor structure at the Activity and Reception Center, and to bring back a cost estimate for construction subsequent to the completion of that community consultation. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much for that report, Mr. DeVries. I have Mayor Clayton and then Councillor Burke.
Thanks so much, Chair Thiessen. Thanks for the report. I think that there's been significant work done in this initiative. I like the motion that's indicated in the package. I would also have a third motion following this, but I'll wait for Councillor Berg's comments before I head to the business, Chair Thiessen.
Thank you for that, Mayor Clayton. I got Councillor Blackmore and then Councillor Burke.
I have given this covered structure a lot of consideration, and I will not be supporting moving forward with covered structures at all. I don't feel that we are coming up with a economically viable solution at this time. I don't expect to see a viable economic solution in the future, and I feel that we have better places to spend money on a structure that people don't seem to support anyway. I look forward, though, to seeing more rink surfaces or outdoor rinks in our neighborhoods, but I don't believe that a covered structure is going to meet the needs of the community at this time. I will not support any motions today in opposition of that.
That was the thin, hard line right there. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen. This is something that I loved in theory, and I'm glad that administration put the work into it and come up with a number of design options. And the first design option that we had seen was not attractive in any way, shape, or form. And even with that, it was well over what we had hoped to spend of, I think, a ceiling of roughly $1 million, and it exceeded that. But still, I was in favor of that. But now that I see there's 4 outstanding options, and I would love to see them come forward, I really do not like the price tags on these. So a question possibly for Chief Glavin. I know that we'd had some high-level discussions of possibly finding a sponsor or a partner to join us on this project. Is that within the realm of possibility, or is that not going to happen? Because with the right partner, say a $2.7 million price tag might be back within reach.
Chief Glavin.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. We did have discussions with numerous potential partners. There was some interest. I don't think there would be any support for a project in 2024 at this time, but that was something we'd have to go back to those potential partners with.
Okay, so there is nothing imminent or potential really for this upcoming fiscal year?
Certainly can't rule it out, but less likely for 2024.
Okay, thank you.
I have a couple questions, but I see Mayor Clayton in the queue, so I'm going to give her my number. Mayor Clayton.
Sure, thanks, Chair Thiessen. I just wondered if you would appreciate a motion on the floor before we continue conversation.
Yeah, we could have a motion on the floor for sure. My questions are in regards to some of the designs of the other stuff, so I don't think that would interfere with it. Go
for it.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Clayton. Just in regards to some of the other designs, some have a refrigerated slab, others don't. Some have a warming shelter, others don't. What is the approximate cost of that would be added on to these shelters if we had a refrigerated slab for the ice and a warming shelter outside?
Chair Thiessen, I don't have the specific details. The estimates that you see for those designs were as is. So however those designs themselves were built in their respective communities, as you noted, some with the slab, some without, some with shelters and without. Those are the all-in costs that we have. We don't currently have the breakdown at this time.
Okay, so we don't even know how much like a regular refrigerated slab would cost?
Chair Thiessen, I would maybe look to my colleagues from corporate facility management if they have any information on that, but I don't currently.
I love teamwork, and you know what? You must have eyes in the back of your head because Mick Phillips was raising his hand in the back there. So, welcome, Mr. Phillips.
Through the chair, so to answer your question, you'd be looking at probably at a minimum of $1 million when we know the cost of an ice plant itself, and then the slab and the required infrastructure for that. So you'd be looking at a minimum of $1 million.
Okay, no, thank you for that. That's I had 750,000 that I was guessing, so obviously I need to up the dollars there. But I appreciate that knowledge because it's something to keep in our minds too if we're going to go with any of these shelters here. I do have other people who are non-committee members that are in the queue, so I think I'll turn it back over to Mayor Clayton to make the motion, and then we can have discussion around that.
Thanks very much, Chair Thiessen. I just wanted to comment a couple things. I know that our CAO has intimate knowledge of outdoor covered spaces and in particular outdoor ice making spaces, refrigerated slabs. So I think that when appropriate, he could probably provide council with some additional information. I did want to make a couple motions here today, and this comes from a couple sort of areas of interest. Recently, myself and a couple of our councillors, Palat and Bosch, attended the Alberta Parks and Rec conference where one of the presentations for electeds was based on outdoor spaces and collaboration within communities. I think that council is on the right path for this facility. I think that there's definitely a need in our community to have outdoor covered spaces that keeps people out of the elements. It helps keep snow off the ice, create covered spaces and on multiple seasons, whether you're inside playing ball hockey or playing with remote controlled vehicles, or whether you're in the winter skating on the facility. I also really appreciate council or the administration's recommendation of the Smith location. So I'll first put 3 motions on the floor. 2 are recommendations, 1 being a subsequent, and then I'll just speak to those motions. The first one being commence consultation with the Smith neighborhood for the placement of a covered outdoor structure in the activity and reception center. The second being bring back a cost estimate for construction subsequent to the completion of community consultation. And the third be defer this item to the 2025 budget deliberations. I think that, as mentioned by Chief Glavin, there have been conversations with sponsors who are interested and see the value in a structure, not like a structure shown in our package, but a structure that the community would be proud to have in their neighborhood, and a community, a structure that we would be proud to have attached to an area of our community that we hope to continue to expand neighborhood relations. The Activity Reception Center has continued to show that having recreation in areas of our community that have seen none before has been a great initiative. We know that there are other organizations looking to put residential and multi-residential in that area. So having another amenity to that area would be a great addition. I think that 2025 would give us time to get this activity done, to have, or by activity I mean community consultation, neighborhood consultation, as well as cost estimates. I think that that also gives us time to explore other communities that Councillor Bosch and Councillor Platt and I saw in regards to what's possible, and get some feedback from these municipalities in regards to the value of these amenities in their community. And with that, I think 2025 also gives the opportunity for conversation around potential sponsorship relationships and conversations. So with that, I look to committee's support on these 3 motions. Thank you.
Thank you for that motion, Mayor Clayton. If I might, could I request for the motion to be split? That way we can deal with each item at a time, one at a time here.
You're the chair.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. I did have Councillor Platt and Councillor Bosch in the queue, so I will let them in.
Thanks, Chair. Just my question is: have we done any counts on how well utilized our current rinks are? Do we have kind of an idea in the wintertime how many people are actually using the several structures that are around the community now, without covered structures, just the actual ice surfaces?
Through Chair Thiessen, there's 5 high-board hockey rinks that are most closely aligned with what this covered outdoor structure would be. We don't have exact counts or, say, pedestrian counts on each of those facilities, just sort of observations from staff who work at those facilities. There are busier times, obviously, in the evenings. During the daytime, there's usually plenty of room with those existing rinks.
Okay. I guess for me, and I'm probably similar to Councillor Blackmore, I think this is a great nice to have. I don't see it as something that we need right now. And the idea of covered structures, as great as it could be, this is specifically for a hockey covered structure. I appreciate we could talk about it being basketball and other sports in the summer. But if we were actually talking about pickleball or basketball and other sports, we're not building nearly the size of structure we're trying to build with this. And I think that's what's costing us so much money. Hockey rinks is a large space, a lot of span. So I'm, as much as I think this is a great option and we've explored it, I'm with Councillor Blackmore. I'm not a voting member on this, but I won't be supporting this when it comes to council. And I actually kind of hope this committee today that you just don't support it at all. I'm worried about us sending administration away to do a bunch of work, getting people excited in an area of town saying, hey, we might have a covered outdoor rink, and then it comes to budget and we don't fund it. And I just think if we're not going to actually fund this come budget, then don't keep pushing this ball forward and making administration do a bunch of work if we're not going to fund it. I think there's enough on administration's plate. We're a creative group on this council and we want to move things forward. But I think from when I look at the price tag of this, the amount of money we could spend on after-school programs and different things that could go a long ways in our community far exceeds what we would spend on this structure. And so I don't think this is something we need to rush. And so I'm with Councillor Blackmore, and I'm hoping that this gets defeated today on all three motions, and that we just don't move forward with this at all.
Okay, thanks for your input, Councillor Platt. Councillor Bosch, and then Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. I guess my concern is with one of the motions in regards to community stakeholder engagement. Prior to going to budget, I don't think, in my opinion, and I'm not on this committee, but I would state this at council, is sending a whole gamut of information to the public, and we haven't even gone through budget deliberations on this particular structure. So I'm similar to Councillor Palat and Blackmore. I don't know, I probably won't land in favor of one of these at this point in time, just due to our current economic situation. But community stakeholder engagement, getting people excited about something that potentially may not happen, I don't think the timing is right. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Councillor Bosch. Councillor Burke. And then Mayor Clayton, is this to close or?
No, I just had a comment, but go ahead, Councillor Burke, or I could do it prior. Just following some of the conversation, I'd actually like to withdraw my first motion in regards to community consultation. So leaving just two motions for consideration. Once Councillor Burke goes, I'm happy to close.
Okay, we'll probably look for clarity. I also have Councillor Blackmore in the queue as well.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen. I will actually support this because I do want to know more. A year buys us a lot of conversation with potential sponsors, and there is nothing saying that we need to have an NHL-sized rink that we're covering. Again, it could be remodeled, rescaled. If it's skating versus hockey, and again, when I was a kid playing on ponds, they weren't NHL-sized rinks. So, you play with what's provided there. So I'd like the idea of buying us a year to have further conversations. And so I will be supporting this.
Thank you for those comments, Councillor Berg. I got Councillor Blackmore, and then I'll throw my 2 cents in here too.
I just have a question for Chief Glavin before I make my comment. Can you refresh my memory, even though it's only from 20 minutes ago, of how many outdoor neighborhood ice surfaces applications you've received and how many you're expecting to put in?
Chief Glavin.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. So far we've had 25. Typically we're 30 to 40.
Thank you for that. I feel that the outdoor neighborhood ice surfaces that we put in neighborhoods are typically well used, depending on weather, of course. There are certain things we could add to make them better, and I would certainly be amenable to putting more services into those outdoor neighborhood rinks. I feel that that money is better spread across the city and reaches more people. I've already made my statement pretty clear about outdoor covered rinks, so I have nothing more to say about that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Councillor Blackmore. Yeah, and I'll just throw in my 2 cents. Similar to Councillor Berg, I'm gonna support this motion going forward to council. The reason I had asked for the motion to be split is because I'm not 100% certain that the Smith subdivision is the best place for this, especially if we're going to be spending anywhere from 2.5 plus $1 million to 4.27 plus $1 million, to put the structure in place. It's going to be, if we build it, it's going to be gorgeous, it's going to be attractive, and it shouldn't be buried in one of our residential neighborhoods. It should be visible to the community. I think that'll go a long way to getting sponsorships if we reach out to the right partners. And I have my idea for other locations, be it Muscote, South Bear Creek, where we have some underserviced rink areas. That's not to say that this will get supported by council, but I am supportive of this motion and all of them going forward too. My only concern, again, is with the Smith sub, but I'll probably still vote for that today anyways, just so I can have that debate at council. I'll turn it over to Mayor Clayton to close and clarify her motions.
Sure, thanks, Chair Thiessen. I'm operating, my eScribe's not working, so I'm operating between a couple platforms here. So my motions would be that bring back cost estimate for construction subsequent, cost estimates for construction in the Smith neighborhood subdivision. I do agree with Councillor Bosch's comment that community consultation at this point, unless council is willing to put money behind it, may not be necessary to send out a group of people to consult or to spend any money on initiatives to consult the community or a neighborhood specifically when we haven't decided if we actually are interested in spending the money. May be a little premature. So I do like the Smith neighborhood. I do want to know cost estimate for construction in that neighborhood. And I also would like, and the second motion then being defer this to the 2025 budget for deliberations. There are many considerations, including artificial ice, that in turn has a different production operationally. I think that, but one thing that keeps getting mentioned is that this is a covered outdoor ice rink. This is significantly more than that. If you look at the St. Albert facility, this is a year-round facility that kids are shooting pucks and balls in the summer, and they're shooting hoops, and they're playing with other vehicles. Kids are in there riding their bikes, they're skipping rope, they're doing many, many things. If you wanted to have pickleball lines on there, so be it. This is an outdoor covered space, and not to be confused with another hockey rink, as mentioned by numerous colleagues. The other thing that I asked committee to support this today, because I think that council as a whole should have a conversation around this. We have heard from many other communities of great work that is happening by getting people outside. The people that attended the Parks and Rec conference understood and heard numerous times that our youth are simply not getting outside enough. And if we want to get them outside, traditional playgrounds appear to be a thing of the past. On a regular basis, we hear that playgrounds are not being utilized. Kids need different spaces, and a space like this, if partnered with a sponsorship that we heard is in consideration, would be a great asset to our community. So at this point, I ask committee to forward this to council for further discussion, and I look for your support. Thank you.
Thank you for that close, Mayor Clayton. I have Chief Glavin coming in at the end of the close.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. Just with regard to the cost estimate portion, there are multiple different types of facilities that we could bring back costed. Does committee have any direction on specifically what type of facility you would like us to bring back from a design perspective?
Sorry, if I can, Chair Thiessen, in your recommendation from administration, it had bring back a cost estimate. It didn't have conversation for which type. So if that's the conversation, I think that's probably a different conversation.
Chief Glavin.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. To clarify, the administration's intent with the motion was to have the consultation, get the feedback from the community, and then have a cost estimate prepared based on the end of the consultation. So if, you know, a pole shed was not something that would be acceptable in that location, or if there was some design elements that the location or the community would be looking for, that we'd be able to build those things into a cost estimate. So that's essentially what the intent was around the community consultation piece prior to bringing back the cost estimate.
Does that work for clarity, Mayor Clayton?
I think that Chief Glavin's looking for clarity. In my opinion, I think that the report coming back should have up to 3 options.
Up to 3 options? Are you inserting that into your motion?
Sure, if a committee will allow.
Yeah, I see general nods and a shrug of the shoulders. And I have Councillor Palat in the queue.
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. I'm just wondering if potentially a friendly amendment will be something I'll ask for to come to council.
Sorry, but you're not on the committee, Councillor Palat, and that was my close.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, that was a miscue of the chair. Councillor Blackmore, no, you're just moving the microphone away. All right, so the mayor's motion is in order. I did request for them to be split, so we will address them one at a time. First motion for up to 3 options for construction in the Smith neighborhood subdivision. Please vote.
Councillor
Mayor
Blackmore
Clayton in
opposed.
favor.
Councillor Berg in favor.
That one passes 3-1. Moving on to the second motion. And to defer this matter to 2025 budget deliberations. Discussion or debate? Seeing none, call to question.
Mayor Clayton in favor.
Councillor Blackmore opposed.
Councillor Berg in favor.
And that one carries 3-1. And I believe that is it. Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for those motions. We will be seeing this item come back to council with up to 3 options for discussion and debate amongst all of council, which is great. So thank you very much for the report, Mr. DeVries, and for chipping in there, Mr. Phillips. Appreciate your company and your time. And we'll move right on to our outstanding items list, jumping all the way down to item number 8. And I'll turn the ball back over to Chief Glavin.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. So today we heard item 1272, the Swanhaven Outdoor Rink. So that particular motion come off and we'll add in the new one as part of the update. And the other one we have for Q4, which is 1230, Design and Construction Standards Review, just to refresh committee, just in case anyone wasn't here for a previous update, is that we have applied for funding through the federal housing grant and are waiting for the results of that prior to bringing back that report.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Chief Glavin. Any discussion, debate, or questions on the outstanding items list? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion to approve. Councillor Berg, or Blackmore. I got Blackmore. She raised her hand first.
I would make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Blackmore. Call to question.
Councillor Blackmore in
Mayor
favor.
Clayton in favor.
And that motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much to administration, council, and staff for your time. This meeting is adjourned. We'll come back in about 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you.